Yaser, could you please state your name and spell it for the record?
اسمك معروف.
Yaser Said.
Yaser Said.
And ma'am, could you spell it for the record?
That's my name.
Yasser
Said.
Said.
Yaser, where were you born?
مكان ولادتك.
اتولدت في سينا.
Sinai.
And what country is that located in?
أي بلد؟
مصر.
Egypt.
When did you move to the United States of America?
إمتى أجيت على أمريكا؟
تقريبا في أوائل ال 83 يعني.
In the beginning of year 83.
Do you recall which year you became a naturalized citizen of the United States?
إمتى صرت أمريكي الجنسية؟ I don't remember.
Okay. Was it, but you are a naturalized citizen of the United States?
ولكنك أنت مجنس مع جنسية أمريكية صحيح؟ Yes, I am.
Now, during your time here, you later met and married Patricia, correct?
أيضا تزوجت باتريشيا صحيح؟
Yes.
Yes.
And you had your 3 children together.
عندي 3 أولاد مع بعض صحيح؟ Yes.
Now, fast forwarding a little bit, I believe we should discuss what happened on January 1st, 2008.
بنرجع شوي لجانيوري 1 2008.
Can you explain to the jury, let's start with that afternoon when Amina comes home.
نرجع للمساء ل 2008 لما رجعت أمينة على البيت.
قابلتهم عادي يعني مفيش مشكلة. كنت عايز أحل مشكلة معهم.
I met them normally, like always, and I wanted to solve the problem.
And by the problem, you mean you were upset that they had run away with these boys and who specifically they were dating at that time.
ولكن كنت زعلان لأنه كانوا مع أصدقائهم الصبيان صحيح؟
بالطبع لأن ده الثقافة بتاعتنا وكنت زعلان من
Did the interpreter move forward to the table? Yes, so that Mr. Said thought that she was wrong.
Yes, I was upset because in my culture it's something to get upset about.
Okay. But you also, you did not kill your daughters, did you?
ولكنك ما قتلت بناتك صحيح؟ For sure did not.
Okay. Now, what happens after Amina gets home? Where do y'all decide to go?
إجوا بناتك رحتوا فين؟ So we took the 121 and then took Highway 14.
Okay. Let me back up just a little bit. You were not going to dinner. You were just going to drive around to talk to your daughters about what was going on at home. Is that correct?
كنت رايح تتعشى كنت رايح تحكي أنت وياهم.
كنت رايح وفي نفس الوقت كنت في بلان يعني بس لما حسيت إن إحنا حد وراي غيرت ما قدرتش أقف.
I was planning to take them to dinner and have a talk over the dinner, but I felt somebody was following me, so I did not continue.
At what point do you, if you remember, and I know this is a long time ago, but how soon after you left the home did you feel like you were being followed?
ما حسيتش بيهم في 121 لكن لما دخلت 114 حسيت إن في زي
When I was going down 121, I didn't suspect anything, but when I went on Route 14, I felt somebody was following me.
Did you discuss this with your daughters?
حكيت لهم هذا الشيء.
قلت له إن في شعر إن في سيارة أو أكثر من سيارة بالطريق.
I told them, I think there is one car or more than one car following us.
Who, did you have any idea who you thought might be following you?
مين اعتقد لها؟
بالليل السيارة اللي وراك تشوفي النور ما تقدريش تشوفي الوصف السيارة، يعني تشوفي الغالب بس ما تقدريش تشوفي نوع السيارة أو مين اللي فيه.
Because of the headlights, you could see a car, you could see there is people in the car, but you cannot tell who is in the car.
At this point, what decision do you make because you're feeling like you're being followed?
القرار اللي أخذته لأنك حسيت إنك متبع.
خدت مسار من 114 باتجاه اللانش، في كلوب اسمه لانش، لأن ده فيه كابستان in case I need مساعدة.
I took the 114 and then I went toward the Lodge Club because it has a cab stand in case I needed to stop.
And were you familiar with other drivers that were frequently at the lodge cab stand? You weren't going to the facility, right? You were going to the cab stand.
ما كنت داخل على البناية، كنت داخل على الكاب ستاند صحيح.
أنا كنت داخل عشان أشوف مين في الستاند، لقيت الستاند فاضي مفيش سيارة.
I was seeing who is in the stand and I saw no cars. The stand was empty.
Okay. Why was it important to you to have witnesses at this location? Why were you choosing to first go to this location?
ليش اخترت هذا المكان؟ ليش مهم لك هذا المكان؟
لأن معظم اللي فيه عارفيني أصحابي وفيش شيء من الأمان، يعني شعور بالأمان إن ألجأ لناس أعرفهم.
I would know many of the people there. They are my friends, and the security that Dad would give me, the feeling of being secure.
Were you feeling the need for security because you felt like you were being followed?
إذا محتاج للأمان لأنه أنت الناس عم تلحق صحيح؟
أكيد وأنا حياتي في خطر.
Certainly, I felt my life is in danger and I needed that.
Now, because the situation was not what you thought it would be when you got there, what decision did you make next?
وصلت لهونيك الوضع مش زي ما أنت متوقع، شو القرار اللي أخذته بعد كده؟
أنا وقفت ريفر سايد درايف قبل البرد، وقفت وقررت إن أنا حسيت إن أنا مستهدف شخصيا في الشركتين، ودول مش هيأذوهم، يعني مش هصعبهم، خلوهم يحلوا المشكلة مع بعض. يعني قررت إن أنا أحكم نفسي لأن شعرت بالخطر مستهدف شخصيا.
Would you have him speak into the microphone?
You want him to speak in the microphone?
Yes,
Your Honor?
so
Okay.
that you can hear it.
So قبل الميكروفون Interpreter would like to clarify. وقفته بريفرسايد درايف بعدين
فتحت الباب واختفيت في المنطقة اللي هي مقابل منطقة غابية شوية فيها شجر وكده ومفيش لايت في المنطقة دي خالص، اختفيت هناك، قلت أنا أمشي وأسيب.
So I stopped at Riverside Drive. I opened the door and I ran into across to a wooden and tree area. And I thought, if they are my daughter's friend, let them solve the problem together if they have issues.
And backing up a little bit, Yaser, I know that there's a lot going on right now with this testimony, and you have not had anybody hear your side in 14 years, but we need to make sure that we can flush out some of these details for the jury, okay? At what point did you communicate this plan with the girls to leave them with the car? I mean, are you communicating with them during the drive around? Can you elaborate on that a little bit, or explain that a little bit?
قلت لهم الخطة معك إنه رح تسيبهم وتمشي خلال ما كنتوا مع بعض لغاياتك، شو قلت لهم؟ told them the car is yours, you do whatever you want. Since they know how to drive, I left the car for them.
When you said you exited Riverside, do you remember specifically where did you pull over and exit the cab?
وين بالضبط ونزلت من السيارة على ريفرسايد؟ وين؟ وين المكان؟
Like where, not when.
Interpreter saying when is an Arabic word.
I apologize.
Mean where?
اوكي انا اللي افتكره ان في دارت ستيشن مش بعيد عن المكان. دارت ستيشن اللي هو الباصات، محطة الباصات.
Okay, there was a bus station nearby.
I don't know exactly يعني المسافة، لكن في الحدود دي.
In that approximate location, but I don't know where exactly, but it's a bus station.
Was it near the Urban Convention Center?
جنب مركز المؤتمرات تبع إيرفن.
هو المحطة يعني ليها بتبص على 114.
So that station overlooks the 114 or faces it,
and Riverside Drive.
and Riverside would be the cross street.
And why did you choose that location at that time to leave the girls with the cab and walk away on foot?
ليش اخترت هذا الموقع على تسيب بناتك وتروح على رجليك؟
إن دارت ستيشن فيها سيرفيلانس كمان وفيها لايت كأنها بالنهار، فيها برق يعني في لايت في
Because the bus station is well lit, like daylight, and it has also many surveillance cameras.
So you believe that you were leaving them in a safe place in order for you to take off on foot?
إذا اعتقدت إنه أنت تاركهم بمكان آمن وفينك تروح، صحيح؟
كنت أعتقد هذا لكن
I was thinking this way, but unfortunately not.
And when you left on foot, am I correct from what you said earlier that you believed that if there was a threat, that threat would follow you?
إذا كنت خايف اللي كانوا بالسيارة يلحقوك إلك؟
طبعا أنا اعتقدت إن هو الموضوع التخلص مني أنا شخصيا.
Of course, because I was thinking they were trying to get off me personally.
Now, at this point, you said you crossed Riverside, if I understand your testimony correctly. And can you describe the area there? Are there buildings? Are there woods? What is on the other side of Riverside?
إذا قطعت من ريفرسايد، موجود إيه في الجهة المقابلة؟ اشرح لي وصف لي.
في الوقت ده يعني بتتكلمي 14 سنة فاتوا ما كانش فيه لايت، ما كانش فيه بيلدينج بزنس، كانت يعني منطقة الناحية التانية أنا بتكلم.
The area across 14 years ago was kind of a rural area. You would not see it as today where there's many buildings I could describe.
And I want to be perfectly clear on this. When you left the girls in the cab, they were alive and well, correct?
بالتأكيد.
Certainly.
Now, what was the plan? Were you going to meet them somewhere else, meet them at home? When you decided to leave on foot to potentially draw this threat away and leaving them with the car, when were you going to reconnect with your daughters?
سبتهم وقررت تمشي، شو المخطط أنت وياهم؟ تعمل إيه؟ يروحوا فين؟
الحقيقة ما كانش عندي خطة معينة في الوقت ده، بس
At that point, I did not have a plan in mind.
كانش في خطة، وكان شيء على فكرة يعني على أساس أشوف حد من أصدقائي أو كده في المنطقة.
I went on foot, hoping that I will see one of my friends and maybe he will give me a ride, but I did not have a specific plan of what to do at that point for them also.
And is that in part because of, was there a sense of urgency? Were you scared about the situation?
بالتأكيد دي تعتبر كانت واحد very dangerous. يعني it's like كأنه اغتيال.
I felt close to somebody will be coming and assassinating me while I have my children with me. So yes, it was a scary situation.
Now, for the rest of the night, you stay on foot, is that correct?
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
You, when do you first learn, when do you first start to hear about what has happened to your daughter?
كنت في الوقت اللي أنا وصلت في الأوفر هاوس بس مش عارفها ويوم جبت مش قاعد فخدت وقت كده.
It took me some time to get into the Waffle House. I don't know how long because I was going on my feet.
وأنا في الوقت ده بدأت أسمع كلام الناس قريبين فيها في صوت حاجة حصلت.
When I arrived, or as soon as I arrived, I heard that something has happened to somebody, but I don't know who.
وأنا لما دخلت جوه وصلت دخلت حسيت في كلام بدأت الناس تستغفر الله الخبر بدأ ينزل بس إمتى التوقيت مش
When I arrived to the Waffle House, I heard some talking about some accident, but I wasn't sure what was it about.
And now, is the wooded area, oh, I'm sorry, yes.
كانوا بيتكلموا على الحادثة نفسها.
They were talking about the accident,
فقعدت كده أنا عرفت.
and that's how I know there was an accident.
And then you later learned that, in fact, it wasn't an accident, that your daughters had been murdered?
بعد كده عرفت إنه هي مش حادثة، إنه بناتك اللي انقتلوا.
عرفت بالتأكيد.
Certainly.
Now, Yaser, none of us were there that night. And we're all here together now.
بهذا اليوم ما حدش كان معك بهذاك اليوم ونحن كلنا معك النهارده.
If you could go back in time,
لو ترجع للوقت ده زمان
would you have still made the same decision that you did in that moment to leave on foot and leave the girls with the cab?
لو رجع بيك الزمن تاخد نفس القرار وتسيب بناتك بالسيارة وبتمشي على رجليك؟
بالتأكيد لا، قرار غبي جدا.
Definitely not, because this was a very stupid decision that I made.
And then sometime after those morning hours is when you finally learn actually the reality of the situation. Is that fair? Correct?
بالصبح عرفت حقيقة الموضوع، صحيح؟ Yes.
And given who you are and where you came from, what was your initial reaction to the allegations that you started hearing on the news and when you saw your daughters dead on the news?
رأيك إيه لما سمعت وشفت اللي حصل بينك والادعاءات ضدك؟
طريقة التغطية الإعلامية كانت شديدة للغاية وغير مسبوقة. ما حصلتش في قضية من هذا النوع.
The coverage for this case was kind of abnormal, one of its kind, and maybe harsh.
During that evening when you're on foot and into those morning hours, did your phone have power? Did it have service? Did you turn it off? What was the status of your cell phone at that time?
I did not have a phone.
Okay. Thank you, Yaser. No further